These clone fragrances are getting scary close. Was recently sent a package from Zimaya Perfumes with 2 new fragrances for us to take a look at. If you're not familiar with Zimaya, they're basically a branch of Afnan, and Afnan makes pretty much high quality, affordable, decent, wearable scents. In fact, they make a couple of my favorite budget scents of all time. Now, personally, I'm not super familiar with Zimaya. I think they're most well known for like their Sharaf blend fragrances, which are basically kind of different takes and twists on like that Angel Share DNA. 2 new ones that we have for today are Daiman Eclipse and Embratur Absolu. From what I understand, this fragrance right here is inspired by this, and this fragrance right here is inspired by that. 2 fragrances that I have in the collection that I'm a pretty big fan of. I'm very interested to see if these can stand up to the OGs. Let's dig in. So let's start with the Daiman Eclipse, because it is going after Acqua di Gio Elixir, and personally speaking, I am a huge fan of all things Acqua di Gio. About a million flankers of that line, and to be honest with you, I think I'm a fan of all of them. Now, the Elixir is one of the newer releases. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit denser than most of the Acqua di Gios, but still has a lot of that bright opening that you'd expect for that line with a really nice, smooth, leathery dry down. Let's see how this holds up. Now, I will say right off the bat, the presentation on this is scary good. I mean, the way this thing opens up, the way it displays the fragrance is really, that's pretty nice. It's impressive while still being classy and not too cheesy and over the top. The bottle itself is nice and heavy, and it definitely doesn't have that we're trying too hard type of a vibe to it that I get with some of these more budget style fragrances. Do a quick atomizer check. Overall, really good atomizer. Heavy cap. Secure. But more importantly, what does it smell like? Let's get a whiff. Okay, without a doubt, you can tell that this is going after that ADG line. The opening is scary close. It's bright, it's sweet, it's aromatic, just like you'd expect with the OG. I would say altogether, this probably lands somewhere in like 85 to 90% in terms of like being close to the original. It does miss just a little bit, as most of these do. I don't think it quite nails the leather and the dry down like the original Elixir. But overall, if you're a fan of that line like I am, this is really pretty stinking good. I was able to find it on the TikTok shop very easily. I think it runs somewhere like around $35 or so. And I gotta say, overall, I think that's a pretty good deal on a fragrance like this. With the quality, the presentation, the way it smells, it's pretty good. Not quite ready to say Doc approved yet, but it definitely gets a thumbs up. All right, now let's move on to fragrance number 2, and that's the Embratur Absolu. As I mentioned earlier, it's going after that fragrance, which is a very nice, woody, creamy, slightly spicy, very sweet type of a scent. That altogether may be my favorite out of that line. So here we go. Solid presentation, maybe not as good as the Daiman Eclipse, but overall still nice. Solid box, magnetic closure. And once again, the bottle is nice, heavy, doesn't feel cheap. The cap's not light, but it's not heavy, kind of right there in the middle. Seems to be solid. Let's do an atomizer check. Slightly better atomizer than the last one. But now, let's get a whiff. Once again, this is pretty stinking good. I hate to admit it because I love both of those original fragrances, so it almost hurts a little bit that some other company can do it for like a fraction of the price. Now, I would say opposite of the Daiman Eclipse, this isn't quite as close in the opening, but in the dry down, it is really close. Both of these fragrances land around 85 to 90% in terms of closeness. Again, this was easy to find on the TikTok shop. I think the current going rate is somewhere like around $40, so a few dollars more than the Daiman Eclipse, but altogether, in my opinion, a pretty decent price and a really good take on the original. So if you're after that original and you want to save a little bit of money, this is a pretty easy choice. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think there's a lot of budget covers of those 2 originals currently out there. I'm sure there's more coming, as there always is. Now we got to ask ourselves the 3 questions that you should always ask yourself when you're looking at these kind of clone or inspo style of fragrances. Are they good? Do I like it? Will I wear it? And yeah, these are both very good. They don't smell cheap. They don't look cheap. There's no like synthetic undertones going on. Overall, yeah, they're both pretty good. And yes, I like both of these. Really enjoy both of these DNAs. Probably the Daiman Eclipse more than the Absolu, but for me, yeah, I like both of them. And final question, yes, I will absolutely wear both of these. In fact, I have already wore this one, and it performed really well. All right, so there we have it. My first real undertaking of Zimaya fragrances, and I'd say so far, I'm pretty impressed. For the price, the quality, these are both really nice scents if that's what you're going. Shout out, huge thank you to Zimaya. I really appreciate you sending these out. I don't think these are hard to find. They're all over the TikTok shop. If you're thinking about picking up either one of these, I always say go support the community, go support one of your favorite creators. If they don't have it in their showcase, just message them, ask them to add it. I'm sure they'd be happy to do it. Between the presentation, the price, and the fragrance itself, I don't really have any complaints at all about these fragrances. Certainly not one-to-ones. I don't believe in those. Those don't exist regardless of what anybody tells you. But in terms of being an affordable take on the original, these have absolutely both nailed it. And overall, I'm pretty happy to add both of these to the collection. So if you tried either one or tried some other Zimayas, please let me know down below. Until next time, save money, smell better.